Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to give everyone out there who's listening a very warm welcome from wherever you're sitting. My name is Ryan Hines. I'm the Communications Manager at Biomin. And today, this is the 13th edition of our Biomin Antibiotic Reduction Expert Series of webinars. We've got a great topic for you today, supporting poultry health, performance, and animal welfare with essential oils and other plant-based compounds. Joining me today to dive into this topic are two Biomin experts. First, I'd like to present Matthias Zaunschirm. Hi, Matthias.
Hello, Ryan.
Great to have you today. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners there who may not have met you yet?
Sure. Hello, also from my side, a warm welcome. So my name is Matthias Zaunschirm. I'm Global Product Manager working at Biomin for almost 3 years. So I have a background in nutritional sciences and also physiological chemistry. And being a product manager for Phytogenics at Biomin, I'm mainly responsible for the product line Digestarom. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matthias. We'll come back to you in just a moment, but I would like to introduce our second expert today, Dr. Wolfgang Market. Hi, Wolfgang.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Very good to have you join us today. Can you introduce yourself?
Actually, myself, I'm now more than 10 years in Biomin, and I'm the technical director, the marketing director for the region Europe. From my, I would say, history, I work as nutritionist in different feed industries, also in research and product management, and now I'm responsible for a region over from Russia to Portugal, and my team is technical sales managers who are supporting our people and also customers with technical knowledge and transfer knowledge to them.
Absolutely, and I would add just one other point to that in your background notes is that you are one of the masterminds behind this series of webinars and the program that we've been running since March. About antibiotic reduction and the tools and the strategies to do so. For those of us, our listeners who might not be aware of your contribution to that. So great. Today we're talking poultry. Before we get started, I just wanted to point out to everyone that at any point which you have a question, you can go ahead and ask either of our experts a question using the webinar chat function that you've got on your screen. Just pop it in there. We'll try to answer it as those questions come in or later on in the dedicated Q&A session at the end of our hour. So in addition to that, we're also going to be able to ask you a couple of questions. This is an interactive session, so we will come back to you on 1 or 2 occasions and ask you to provide your opinion on a topic, and we'll make that part of our today's discussion. All right? So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Matthias, you are going to bring us into this topic, which we've put out there, which is plant-based ingredients, essential oils, and other compounds that can help with a list of things that we've got: performance, welfare, health, etc. Please go ahead and introduce us to this topic, bring us into this in the context of antibiotic reduction.
Okay, thanks again for the introduction, Ryan. So let's start directly. Let's dive into the topic of how essential oils and botanical ingredients can help and support poultry health, improve performance and animal welfare. So as you can see here, essential oils and defined active compounds are basically a category of the so-called phytogenic feed additives. So not only essential oils, but also herbs and spices or non-volatile extracts are basically phytogenic feed additives. So for the ones who are not familiar with this topic, phytogenic feed additives are functional feed additives of plant origin. So you can see here on the right, these are the 3 main categories. So basically, herbs and spices, what are you thinking about when you see these herbs and spices? Can be oregano or for example, thyme, the full plant can be used. Essential oils are basically extractions, liquids, lipophilic extractions with lots of bioactive compounds in it. And also these active ingredients can be isolated and can be used as single active compounds as phytogenic feed additives. Non-volatile extracts are, for example, extracts from licorice, oak bark, grapeseed. So they comprise mostly, for example, flavonoids, tannins, saponins. So these are volatile extracts. So Ryan, I think we are pulling now a poll question.
So let's go into it and just see how familiar our audience is with phytogenic feed additives. We'll launch our first audience poll question. Please, listeners, go ahead and choose the one best answer that matches your opinion or situation. Do you use or recommend phytogenic feed additives in your operation? Whether you're on the producer side or in a consulting role, you can choose from yes, no, or not sure. And we'll give everyone a minute to get their answers in. And wow, right out of the gate, we've got half of the listeners have already voted. So this is going to be a shorter poll than usual. We'll give everyone just another second to choose an answer if they'd like to participate. And then we'll go ahead and have a look at those results. So thank you. With 2/3 of our listeners already having quickly chosen their answer. And we have a very clear result in favor of yes, I do use or recommend phytogenic feed additives. So this group is definitely familiar with it. 9% said no, and we have another 9% that said not sure. So there is still some questions there, but by and large, Matthias, we are seeing that, yeah, absolutely. We know this category, we're familiar with it. How does that compare with some of the information that you've gathered in the market and what you see in commercial operations around the world?
Yeah, Ryan, I mean, this result of the poll question is absolutely great, I have to say. And next slide, please. So this is actually in accordance with our PFA survey. So we did the PFA survey the third year in a row, and almost 670 respondents participated in this survey 2020. And as you can see here, the vast majority, I mean, more than half of the respondents are currently using phytogenic feed additives. So, and also 10% previously used phytogenic feed additives, which are basically more than 60% of the respondents used or use phytogenic feed additives. But also 38% never use phytogenic feed additives. So there's room for improvement and to reach lots of people. Next slide, please. We asked a lot of questions during our phytogenic feed survey 2020. So we also wanted to know the expectations of the respondents. So how, I mean, if they are going to use antibiotics in the next upcoming 12 months. And you can see here the outcome that almost 60% of the respondents answered that they're going to decrease the use of antibiotics in their production. Almost 30% said, well, we stay the same, we use antibiotics the same way we used in the past. 10% said, well, not sure. And only 4%, which is a minority, said, okay, we are going to increase the usage of antibiotics. So on the other side, we also asked, please, next. We also asked the respondents about their expectations if they're going to increase or decrease the use of phytogenic feed additives in the upcoming 12 months. And as you can see here, almost 70% answered that they are going to increase the use of phytogenic feed additives. And 24% stay the same. So we have a high percentage of people out there in the market using phytogenic feed additives and going to decrease the use of antibiotics. So this is pretty much matching with the results we got right now from the poll question. So next slide, please. So further on, of course, we wanted to know the motivations of the respondents, why they are going to use phytogenic feed additives. So what is the main purpose, the main motivation? So on top of the list was also the last two phytogenic feed additive surveys like that. Antimicrobial effect is on top priority with 55%. Then second top was digestibility enhancement. So with almost also 55%. Then growth promotion. This is not surprisingly, everybody wants to have a bigger growth of and a better growth of their animals. Then, of course, so using phytogenic feed additives in an antibiotic growth promoter replacement strategy is in lots of the regions in the world still a big issue. So this is a big motivation. Is it on the one hand driven by the consumer, or on the other hand by the government? So, but still there is the need. Also, anti-inflammatory effects is a big motivation to use phytogenic feed additives, nutrient sparing effect, then improving final products, and also reducing environmental emissions. So there might also be some regional differences, but especially for Europe, this is a big topic to reduce environmental emissions. So next, please. And linked to this topic, of course, everybody knows a key organ would be the animal's gut. So the animal's gut and its integrity and functionality plays a very big role in addressing lots of the mentioned effects before. And on the one hand, the intestinal integrity on the one hand serves as a physical barrier, preventing translocation of toxins, pathogens into the body. And on the other hand, it allows the passage and the absorption of nutrients. And of course, absorption, so passage and absorption of nutrients is basically a key for growth, for animal growth and performance. So you can see here the epithelial layer consists of enterocytes, and these enterocytes are joined together by a complex network of proteins, and these proteins are called tight junction. And these tight junctions can be disrupted and physically damaged during, for example, starvation, water deprivation, heat stress, toxins, but also by feed, like for example, rancid fats. And of course, there are also other factors, for example, like mycotoxins or cytokines and stress affecting the intestinal integrity. So to prevent environmental stress and reducing also the risk of having mycotoxins, bacterial infection, and also feed impact is to preserve basically the integrity and the functionality of the gut. So this is a very important topic. So next slide, please. So also linked to gut integrity and gut functionality is inflammation. You can see that normally inflammation is a protective mechanism of the animal to cope with stressors and harmful environmental stimuli. And it's basically a protection mechanism against different diseases, for example, and then so-called clinical inflammation occurs. On the other hand, there is the subclinical inflammation. So subclinical, in contrast to the clinical inflammation, the subclinical inflammation results for existence from injury or bacterial challenges. It appears much mild, but much persistent in response to the host immune system. And this can, for example, lead to cytokine-induced decrease of feed intake. And this decrease of feed intake can go along with the shift of nutrient utilization from maintenance on the one hand, growth to processes basically that need energy. So this subclinical inflammation, which are chronic, persistent, use basically energy which could be used for the growth and performance of the animal. And that's why during the subclinical inflammatory processes, more energy is required, and the animal basically which loses which the animal loses for performance and would have needed for performance. So next slide, please. So to target these effects and target a good gut functionality and gut integrity, we designed a new product, Digestarom DC Power, which is the next generation phytogenic feed additive. So Digestarom DC Power consists of a triple action formulation with the unique bioduplex capsule technology. So next, please. Again. So on the one hand, Digestarom DC Power consists of the bioduplex capsule, which is basically this technology is made of a certain unique matrix, double matrix encapsulation technology consisting of a core and a coat. And this coat and core have on the one hand appetizing and endogenous secretion effects and properties, and on the other hand gut microbiota modulating properties. So additionally to this biomine duplex capsule, also extracts and herbs are mixed to the product of Digestarom DC Power to show the best possible effect in the animal. Next slide, please. So this biomine duplex capsule technology results in improved innovative features. So on the one hand, this biomine duplex capsule technology lifts up the shelf life from 12 to 18 months. So Digestarom DC Power has a shelf life of 18 months. Tests were done to basically test the formation of dust potential, and it could be shown that due to the biomine duplex capsule technology, the dust potential, the dust formation potential was very low, and this is critically important for worker safety, handling the products during manufacturing process. Then the biomine duplex capsule shows an optimized homogeneous distribution in the feed. And why is it like that? Because this unique encapsulation technology provides a capsule, a duplex capsule with a very narrow range of small particle size. And if you have a very small particle size, then optimized homogeneous distribution in the feed is guaranteed. And in the end, deliver of the bioactive components to the animal is also guaranteed. And then last but not least, also very important, enhanced pelleting stability. So essential oils contain volatile active compounds. These active compounds need to be protected during heat treatment or manufacturing processes. And the biomine duplex capsule is protecting these essential oil compounds during the before mentioned heat treatment or manufacturing processes up to 95 degrees. So up to 95 degrees, the essential oil compounds are protected and therefore exert their beneficial biological activity in the animal after digestion. Next slide, please. So after the innovative technological properties I've shown you before, I want to show you the basically mode of action of Digestarom DC and its components. So first of all, we investigated the antioxidant potential of the compounds of Digestarom DC in vitro, and for this, epithelial cells basically have been challenged with hydrogen peroxide to generate stress in the cells. So we had a control cell and a cell incubated with Digestarom DC ingredients, and after challenging the cells and inducing oxidative stress. And afterwards, the NRF2 was measured. And on the right side, you can see that, next please. So on the right side, you can see that adding Digestarom DC ingredients, so the extracts and herbs I mentioned before, proved the upregulation of NRF2 factor, shows basically that that these extracts and herbs show a very strong antioxidant effect. Next slide, please. So additionally, we also investigated the anti-inflammatory effects of the Biamine duplex capsule. So again, we had this in vitro model of epithelial cells, and we challenged the control cells and the treatment cells with tumor necrosis factor alpha, inducing stress in the cells. And then afterwards, the expression of NF-kappa B was measured. And you can see here on the left side that when inducing stress and Biamine DC capsule added to the cells, the NF-kappa B expression was reduced, showing very strong anti-inflammatory effects of the Biamine duplex capsule. And also, next slide, please. We also checked the effect of Digestarom DC ingredients on the gut barrier function. As mentioned before, gut barrier function and gut depth is very important for the animal itself. And first of all, again, in this epithelial cell model, we disrupted basically the epithelial cells. We broke down the tight junction with the calcium switch assay, so basically inducing leaky gut. And then the TEER value was measured. So the TEER stands for transepithelial electrical resistance. And in the end, you can see here on the right side that adding herbs and extracts to these disrupted cells improved the reassembly of the tight junction. So showing that Digestarom, so that the herbs and extracts improves the gut barrier function after disruption. Next slide, please. So, as mentioned before, oxidative stress and inflammation are very important topics, and a lot of environmental stimuli, stress and other stimuli can induce oxidative stress in the animal. And this oxidative stress leads to pro-inflammatory substances, and these substances are mediated by NF-kappa B and different chemokine activation, which would lead to the recruitment of inflammatory cells. And this recruitment of inflammatory cells, on the other hand, leads to the production of cytokines, and again to the production of reactive oxygen species, and enhancing and increasing oxidative stress in the animal again. So you can see this is kind of a vicious circle. It's not a single line. It's not either oxidative stress or inflammation. So this is a vicious circle playing together. Next slide, please. And Digestarom DC Power can operate on various types of the vicious circle to reduce the impact of oxidative stress and inflammation on animal performance. Next slide, please. So basically, with our great product, we aimed for a zootechnical registration, 2017 back then, and we submitted a dossier, EU dossier, 2017. So it took 2 years for getting a positive EFSA opinion, stating that the product is safe on the one hand, and also on the other hand, that the product works. So the efficacy was also approved by the EFSA. And based on this positive EFSA opinion, 1 year later, more or less, so Biomin DCP, so the duplex capsule of Digestarom DC Power, achieved the EU registration as a zootechnical additive, showing that the product improves efficacy, productivity in poultry species. So this is confirmed by the EU Commission. Next slide, please. So just to summarize how Digestarom DC Power is working, on the one hand, due to the endogenous efficient appetizing effect module, it's supporting feed intake, it reduces inflammatory processes. Digestarom DC Power modulates gut microbiota, improves gut structure like integrity, and therefore increasing nutrient digestion, absorption, and utilization, leading to better animal performance. Next slide, please. So now Digestarom DC is the product for you. It's a solution to improve nutrient availability for poultry, resulting in better growth performance and feed efficiency. So we will go with the next poll question before I hand over to Wolfgang, who will show you the field and practical application of Digestarom DC Power in poultry species.
Absolutely. So thank you, Matthias, for that. Thank you for showing a number of reasons why people are including phytogenics in their antibiotic reduction programs and the science behind Digestarom DC specifically. We're going to get on to look at the performance parameters and some of the commercial results with Wolfgang in a moment. But before we do, I wanted to take this opportunity to ask our audience another question, because you evoked a number of topics, right? You said we've got this antioxidant effect, we've got anti-inflammatory effect, promotion of gut integrity, and all of these can go to a number of objectives. They can support performance, they can reduce emissions, they can promote welfare or sustainability. Let's turn to the audience now and ask about priorities. How does this work in your operation? Which of these, let's say, the most important, or which ones of these are top priorities? And that's the topic of our second poll. So please, I would ask our live listeners to go ahead and choose the priorities for your organization, whether it regards in terms of performance, animal welfare, emissions reduction, removing antibiotics from your system, or other. As we pursue this discussion about how phytogenics fit in a program, the place they can have in Digestarom DC specifically. So we've got plenty of response coming in. This poll is different from our last one in that multiple choices are allowed. So if you want to choose 2 or 3 or even 4 of these answers, that's also perfectly acceptable. We're going to see also a bit of a different than result. And we have over half of our audience having participated. So let's go ahead and have a look, and I'm going to turn then to Wolfgang after we get these results up on the screen to comment just a moment about them. So let's see what you told us. So performance, perhaps it's no surprise, came out as the top priority for everyone at 84%, followed by antibiotic-free production at 52%. Third on the list is animal welfare, and 35% said it's a top priority. 30% put emissions reduction up there, and 5% chose other. So that gives you an idea of the order of priorities. Perhaps there's no surprise, Wolfgang, the performance tops the list.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ryan, for this information. From my side, and thanks also, Matthias, for your kind introduction of the product and a little bit the mode of action. I will go a little bit more on the practical approach there. And Matthias talked about the mode of action. I'll focus a little bit also that we are a proven company in phytogenics. Since 20 years, we work with phytogenic products, and also in the time we also has another company coming to us there, this Digestarom brand. From this side, we see a lot of peer-reviewed paper where we really see that we can improve the digested nutrients. And end of the day, we see also that we also reduce nutrient use like amino acid and energy because of inflammation or oxidative stress. And that is the major point also if we want to increase the efficiency of feeding, the top on top, and we can see that in different topics. Here, that's a little bit another slide I adapted. It was created from Professor Eder in Germany, a little bit also to explain what is really doing with the different stressors we have on the animal feeding. So you have harmful substances, cytokines, viruses, bacterial toxins like endotoxins, and also their oxidative stress is also create the NF-κB way, and it's a signal protein. And from this side, you see what's happened in the liver. We have a clear reaction to that. So we have an increasement of the acute phase proteins that also increase some, mediators, so like CRP or SAA. So it's also a warning signal for the body in the animal. On the other side, the negative acute phase, because you have normally a balance here, will also downregulate it, and that's also distributed the liver function as one of the important organs in the animals. And also we have also some cytokines will become in the blood. So we have also some other, would say, information messengers, TNF alpha, EFN, and EL, and that could be in the extreme situation then in fever, anorexia, that is the feed intake, and also pain. But on the other side, and that's the most important part, you see also what's happened on the other side. For all that, we need proteins and amino acids to build CRP and SAA. And that's the reason that we have also a downgrade of protein over the UPS factor, the ubiquitin proteasome hormone system. And that amino acids will go directly to the liver and also secure the building situation of these different proteins. And that also reduce then that we have a muscle loss there. And that has a big impact then on the efficiency of some animals. And also, end of the day, on the feed conversion rate. Mode of action, clear. We have also some description that we have a better amino acid digestibility. There we have less protein and amino acid fermentation. We have higher protein digestibility. Later I will show not every time, but you see it. Less limiting, more amino acids, more protein deposition, and clear less N in the urine and feces as a result out of that. And old study also that we have less nutrients for unwanted bacteria. Also very important, less production of toxic metabolites, supporting the gut microbiota, and clear better performance, show more antiposition. That clear is the result of a higher feed conversion rate, and also especially in pigs, but also in poultry, the carcass composition can change, and you see we have a lot there of peer-reviewed paper to support that. Here you see also the scientific opinion from the EFSA and also then the commission implementing a regulation. And there you see also what we have in the capsule inside, the products what we use here, and that it's also proven then, and it's allowed to use that with a zootechnical approval. If I look inside their EFSA results, you see here I would say the efficiency of the product, and take care, that's only the capsule. Yeah? We have around also these herbs and plants around. Yeah? So the normal inclusion rate is 150 grams per kilogram per ton of feed. Yeah? But you see here, that's are the results. You see not everywhere are statistical differences, but at the end of the day, all data will be statistic analyzed together. Yeah? And end of the day, we see there a positive effect for the efficiency. Also, what you see a little bit that we have, if you look to the body weight, because for these trials we use the breed Ross 308, that it's behind their standard curve. Yeah? The main reason is for all these trails we use mesh feed, not pelletized feed, and that reduces a little bit the feed intake in different situations. Here you see different numbers. Here that is total feed intake in this phase there, and you see also, but you see everywhere we have a tendency of a better feed conversion rate. Yeah? In all trails, and there is a little bit effect in some trails for reduce mortality or on the other side. The same we have for the 42 days there is the same. Only the trail 2, 3, and 4 show this data, and there you see also the benefit in feed conversion rate. Yeah? And also you have the same situation that we with the final body weight behind the growth curve of the Ross breed. We look a little bit more inside the experimental trial 4. Yeah? You see here a little bit the overview about the trail. Yeah? What it's doing, you see also here this nice picture, how they do it. And here you see that we had a basal diet, and then the basal diet with the Digestarom DC only. Take care about it, that it's not the product what we have in the market. It's only the duplex capsule. And we have 3 phases, and also clear that we analyze the total tract digestibility analysis, and also we measure the ileal digestibility inside. Yeah? And if you look to the feed formulation, that looks like a good, very nice ration. They will not feed in practice. Yeah? You have also some other raw materials here, but it was clear to standardize it a little bit. Yeah? And you see with that we have these nutrients. I will not go in details, but for documentation, it's very interesting that you can read it. Yeah? And from the end of the point, what was the result? We have improved performance. Yeah? What's very interesting with the DC, but here it's only the capsule. Take care, that's not right here. And the feed efficiency was statistically about 2 points reduced. And we see a better European production efficiency factor. But that is one point, and the more interesting point is the next, is we increase the improved digestibility. And you see the apparent ileal digestibility in the broilers was improved by nearly 2% in the dry matter. But if you look to the protein, you see there 3% increase of the digestibility of the protein. And that is a major point. We show that we have a better use of the protein in the animal. You can also calculate a little bit the efficiency with the protein efficiency ratio. I would do it normally a little bit better for broiler reduction. We know that if we want to improve their N efficiency, the higher use of amino acids, the ideal protein, reduced contents of crude protein in the ration is I would say the best standard to reduce N emissions and N excretion. But on top, if we use a phytogenic product, we can improve the efficiency there. And you see here of that we have a different there. And the pair here means how much protein in grams were used for 1 kg body weight gain. And that shows that we have with the DC duplex capsule here a higher use. It shows the efficiency for protein usage is higher. And that could be a result that we have a better protein amino acid usage, clear reduction of N excretion because in feces or urine, and also less inflammation. We show their effect, and Matthias showed that we have here really an effect. Clear with a better reduction, we have less ammonia and odor emissions. And don't forget the animal welfare with a drier litter and a better air quality because we have less ammonia in the air.
And if Wolfgang, I could use that opportunity right there. We had Matthias's remarks earlier about dusting potential and handling and ease of handling. You mentioned the barn environment and how you've got welfare improvements on top of the performance gains here. Let's go to the audience now. Ask about those topics in particular. Is this part of your consideration? Is this important to you when you're looking for a feed additive? When you're going to the market, considering weighing different alternatives for phytogenics, do you consider the barn environment and worker safety when selecting a feed additive? Please go ahead and choose the answer that best fits your situation, your opinion. I'll point out that in contrast to the earlier poll, the second poll we did, this is one single answer, yes, no, or not sure. And everyone is very keen to participate. It's great to see that. We have more than half of you having voted. We're going to close the poll in just a moment and then read out those results. So let us see what you had to say. And I think the votes were, the results speak for themselves in a way, but let's talk about them for just a moment. Here's what we have when we asked you if you consider barn environment and worker safety when selecting a feed additive. 59% say yes. So the overwhelming majority, we have 28% say that they're not sure, and 13% say no. So for the most part, we see that that is something that matters when choosing a feed additive for your operation.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ryan, for this information and also for the pool for answering the question. It shows that we are on the right way. And from this side, here is compare a little bit data. I will not go there inside, but you see here really the positive aspect of use of their DCP, only the duplex capsule. It shows that we have additionally effects of their herbs and plants around. And for that reason, I show you really an actual trial, what we have done in US there, but not with broilers. Here we use turkeys. But end of the day, the interesting part of that is that here that we reduce the protein content in the diet by 1.5%. And on the other side, we add the complete Digestarom DC Power. It means the DC duplex capsule and also the flavors and herbs for the gut security. You see here the name 1000, that's only a diluted version for easier mixing. And from this side, we use hybrid turkeys, that's clear. And we measure a lot of things there. Here's also the diet composition, also not a, I would say not so good diet, because we have there also poultry byproduct meals inside. The digestibility could be better or lower, and also dry distiller grains also there inside. But end of the day, we had the normal crude protein content, and you see here also the downsizing of the crude protein. But here you see the negative control. It's not so as planned. At the end of the day, here you see it was planned in this direction. And what is the result? The summaries. You see the body weight in start was good. The body weight development. You see in the first phase there, that we have here the best result. And there we are similar with the negative control. And here you see a big benefit of the DC Power group with 4%. Then we have development at the same time, advantage here. But at the end of the day, from 0 to 42, you see we are not far away, but the negative control, because of less amino acids and less crude protein, we see there also the benefit of the Digestarom DC group. Feed intake, we see a little bit higher feed intake here, a lower feed intake, normal one. And here the feed efficiency, take care about it. That's the opposite of the feed conversion rate. You see here also that we have here also a good value compared to the negative control. But here the feed efficiency with the higher crude protein amino acid content is on the top here. But here statistical, you see there is not a difference. And if you calculate the feed conversion rate, you see also the differentiation. And compared to the negative control, we have 3 points better with the Digestarom DC Power. And you see also, that's also very important, a lower mortality rate here. If we now come to a nice factor, they also analyze the coefficient of ileal crude protein digestibility. And that is the surprising point. We know from broilers that we have a better digestibility. But if you look here to the data, the coefficient here is here, go to the 42 days here, there is not really a benefit there. There is no big difference between these two groups. They are statistical not at the same level. And you see that their digestibility crude protein intake is also a little bit higher. It's in the middle between the two groups there. And so Digestarom DC is able to cover a little bit less the minimum in crude protein amino acid. But end of the day, that is the right wording. Nutrient digestion was not improved by the use of Digestarom. Better growth thanks to better nutrient oscillation in general. And we come back to this inflammation, oxidative stress problem, where we talk about it. And that could be two reasons that we have with phytogenics. One part is digestibility in some situations. Other part is really goes in inflammation and oxidative stress reduction. And here I take the same, but you cannot compare the data with the trial before, because here we have the digestible protein efficiency ratio, and there you see really that we have a benefit of the DC Power compared to the negative control, but you don't reach their positive control with the higher protein and amino acid content. But at the end of the day, what we can achieve with the use of phytogenics, especially with Digestarom DC Power, is the same. Better amino acid usage, reduce excretion, less ammonia, better animal welfare. And from this side, we see really a benefit to use phytogenic product in this direction. So clear summary, and that's the last slides. We have higher feed intake. Compare the DC group with the negative control, with the lower, not to the positive control. And we have better growth. We have better feed conversion. We have a lower mortality. And also very important to finalize that. Here in this US trial, we can compensate nutrient availability and oscillation in turkeys. Better grow, did with lower protein content. But also, we can also make some calculation that's more interesting for nutritionists. We can also, if you compare that, we can reduce the feed costs with a normal performance. And that's also an effect that we can also calculate. Also, like better digestibility and better amino acid oscillation, a little bit cheaper feeds, and also reduce the problems what you perhaps have to be competitive in the market. From this side, I'm now ready with that. Yeah? And I thank you for your attendance. Yeah? And I hope, Ryan, you can take over now a little bit the question and answers. Yeah?
Let's move right to that. So thank you, Wolfgang, for that interesting set of materials that you brought to share with us today. Certainly seen a number of interesting things pop up, but as Wolfgang has pointed out, this is the time for questions for either Matthias or Wolfgang or both of them. We'll tackle as many of them as we can. So please go ahead and enter those into the chat function. We're going to start with the questions that have already been submitted. And let's see, since we're in the context of antibiotic reduction, that's the headline of this series, let's start there. I think perhaps, Matthias, we can start with you. This regards AGP replacement, right? So is this a one-to-one? If you take out antibiotics in the system, is it simply to put a phytogenic in, or do you have to make other changes?
Well, it's certainly not a one-to-one replacement, because we know it's a very holistic approach. You need to take other factors in consideration, like farm management, feeding, but certainly you can reduce the amount of antibiotics and certainly AGPs. You can reduce the amount of used AGPs, and additionally can add phytogenic feed additives to compensate basically for the loss or for the performance loss. But it's not a one-to-one replacement. And time by time, you can probably, sometimes you probably are able to switch to only phytogenics usage. It may take some time. So a switch from AGP usage to non-AGP usage, it might not be that easy, but we also had some scenarios when it worked. But in general, it's a more holistic approach, and it's not that easy.
Absolutely. And that's an important point. And we have, let's see, another question here. A little bit of a different line, but I'm going to stay with you, Matthias, if you wouldn't mind. Mark suggests that, many of these phytogenic products, and it is a very broad market, there are very many different components and ingredients and options available for our audience to choose from. It seems that the anti-inflammatory effects may be the most common thing that these do in terms of a mode of action. That seems to be pretty well established. What makes Digestarom DC a better choice for poultry producers?
Well, as mentioned already before, so first of all, we have certainly these innovative technological features, which we heard right now during our poll questions, are also very important for the listeners and the participants, like having less dust formation, and having better mixability, better homogeneous distribution in the feed, and so on. So with this unique duplex capsule technology, we can target especially these needs of the participants, so the technological needs. And of course, to the technological needs, we also have the biological properties, also linked to the BioMine duplex capsule technology. And since this technology, this BioMine duplex capsule technology is a unique one, I would say that Digestarom DC Power has a unique function. So you cannot really compare this encapsulation technology with other products. But I agree, the anti-inflammatory properties, the antioxidant properties, in general, the improvement of gut functionality, gut health is right now of utmost importance in animal production and poultry production especially.
Absolutely. And here we have a question coming in. We are talking a lot about antibiotic reduction, but sometimes antimicrobials are used in the system when they're needed. What would there be any kind of effect when a flock has to be treated with antimicrobials? Is there any issue there with also applying Digestarom DC as a feed additive? Any combination adverse effects, or is that okay to do?
So from my perspective, being a product manager, we can say yes, they can be applied together. So there is no adverse effects expected. But maybe Wolfgang can also jump in from the field application point of view, from the practical point of view.
Also from my side, it has not a negative effect to use both. It's only increased the costs. That's clear. Yeah? The better ways that we have to put out the Digestarom DC in such situation to reduce costs, feeding costs, yeah? But it will not will have some adverse effects. Yeah? From this side, you can use it over the whole time. Yeah? If you have really a sick flock, yeah, it's better to use the antibiotics, yeah, because you have to treat sick animals. Yeah? And that makes it better, yeah, in this direction. But if you only want to improve the performance with antibiotics, yeah, then that will not help with antibiotic in this or with antibiotic growth promoter. There is the only use of Digestarom DC, the best way to increase their efficiency and the feed conversion rate at the end of the day, and also I would say you earn more money on this way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's interesting. That relates to another question that we see here. I mean, which animals get the most benefit from Digestarom DC? Would it be the healthy animals or sick or challenged animals? And it sounds like Wolfgang, you're already sort of along the lines of answering this question. Yeah. It's a question of costs, right?
It's a question, and that's a very interesting question. Normally, such a phytogenic product or some feed additives, there you see a better effect in challenged, I would say, flocks, whatever. But end of the day, if you see in a healthy environment, like we have done this efficiency trials for FSAR with a very good feed, with less social stress, whatever, and there you see a positive effect. Dutch products are more effective in practical circumstances, because there you see the benefit out of that. Yeah, normally, and that's sometimes a problem, if you prove products in a good environment, they show nothing, because there's no stress. But at the end of the day, in practice, you see the effect of that, and that shows also the power of the DC Power, that we are able to show in 4 trials positive effects with a mesh feed at the end of the day, with effects on the feed conversion rate. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And that's really the big benefit at the end
of the day. Right. That's certainly important to highlight. I want to dig into the turkey trial that you brought up. We had at least one question there that generated some interest here among our audience. So the question is, I hope I can get this right. When you decrease the crude protein levels by 1.5%, what did you do to the digestible amino acid levels? Do you keep those levels stable, or did you also decrease those in the feed?
They go down. Yeah? So the digestible amino acid levels was also reduced. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so thank you for that. I hope that clarifies that point there. Let's see what else we have here. We have some interesting, here's a question about, can you speak a bit more to the ingredients, what's in Digestarom DC? We've talked about this capsule, we've talked about the herbs and spices. As a reminder, can you go through some of the substances that were mentioned before?
So I guess this question is addressed to me.
Right? Yeah. Right. You know it. Yeah. I don't know it.
So as Wolfgang already mentioned, so we submitted the EU dossier for the DCP, so the Biomine duplex capsule, and it stated there anyways that it's a combination of, for example, carvacrol, thymol, carbon, and so on. So these are active compounds of the Biomid duplex capsule. And as Wolfgang mentioned already before, there are some more extracts and herbs also in the product surrounding the Biomid duplex capsule. And one of them, of course, we cannot, list all of them due to certain reasons to the audience, but for example, grapeseed would be one, for example. Yeah.
And it's if I understand correctly,
of course we cannot disclose the whole composition of the product.
It's if I understand correctly, something about the combination of the substances chosen. Yes. and the research that goes into that makes it special. Could you speak to that for a minute?
So yeah, that's why I've shown you especially the in vitro research. So we really wanted to investigate the different compounds of the product, so the capsule, the Biomid duplex capsule, the extracts and herbs surrounding it, and really see, okay, what actually mode of action it is due to which ingredient or combination of ingredients. And yeah, and of course, taking this as basic, our in vitro research, in the end, it was proven and confirmed by the EU Commission and EFSA and EFSA that the product works in vivo. So the combination of the ingredients are working together as the product Digestarom DC Power.
Absolutely. So thank you for summing that up. I think if anything, we've certainly seen that the science is there, right? We've gotten a peek at why people use phytogenics generally, but specifically what Digestarom DC can bring to the table in terms of poultry production, in terms of looking at maybe saving feed costs or generating ROI. We've seen emissions, gut integrity improvement, all sorts of things. So if you're interested, if we haven't gotten to your question, we will do so. But we have reached the end of our time, so we want to thank you for your attention. We want to thank you for your questions. Wolfgang and Matthias, I would like to thank you both for bringing your insights to us and sharing those with us today.
Thank you too.
Thanks a lot, Ryan, for your moderation. Yeah.
As we close, I would just ask one more thing of our audience. Please go ahead and give us your feedback. As soon as this session closes, we'll have a short questionnaire. It takes about 2 minutes to click through. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if you'd like to, which topics you'd like to hear about more, so that we can continue on this series of discussions and bring more of these solutions to your attention in the future. This will close our session for today, and this will be the last session of this year. So we'll look forward to coming back in 2021. Please follow up, and we'll let you know of those upcoming sessions starting in January. So on behalf of Biomid, thank you and have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thanks. Bye.